to tell us about the best way to start an investment journey early on and how it can help you in becoming financially secure. I'm joined by Keerti Gupta, COO at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC Limited for this fireside chat. Keerti, great to have you on board. Let's start with the best age to start investing. Seems like a simple question, but well, the answers vary. What's your view on this?
Thanks, Gautam. Thanks for having me. I think you just said time is money, and that's the most important part. We all know when to start as early as possible. But in reality, I fully agree with you. It's much difficult than the executed. But I personally believe out there that if we are able to inculcate that feeling or that discipline as early as possible. So let's take an example. We all are Indians and we all celebrate festivals and we all get some amount of gifts, maybe in the form of cash or any other. So whenever you get, if you can start building that particular habit, this particular habit at that point of a time, I think a long go. I personally believe one very important aspects which we miss completely into our education system is how do we teach our kids at the school stage to at least introduce them with the concept of savings. Today, all of them get some kind of a pocket money. Today, all of them have some kind of a financial freedom where they have a choice to make that which t-shirts you want to buy or which toy you want to buy. But if you're trying to help them build that particular, I think will go a long way. Our financial
Absolutely.
literacy is very, I personally believe is at very low, and we are becoming more and more protective.
Hmm.
Instead of being protective, if we become more rational and handhold, I think we'll go a long way. But yes, your point is, I think there are no two ways about it as early as possible. Uh, I fully agree that in certain circumstances, you will not be able to define that early, or it cannot be same for every and each person. But you define what that early is. The second point I said, it might happen that based on certain kind of a life conditions, you're not able to make that investment. But please invest time in educating yourself the norms of investments, and that will take you long way. So that's why it says if you don't have money to invest, please invest time, effort, and learnings to learn the norms of investments and saving. And probably this investment will reap benefit when you really have the very first day when you start getting your pocket money or your check pay or your first entrepreneur's first order out there. Just do that.
Absolutely. Imbibe it as part of your life. And you're right. I mean, when you start educating it at the school level itself, it becomes part of someone's DNA around thinking about money. But as you mentioned, discipline, what are your tips to maintain a disciplined approach to investment, especially for those who have debt burdens?
So, Gaurav, I would just say some things. Till the time you have a debt, I don't have a problem. But the moment you add burden, I think that shows that somewhere we have uh, didn't put things into right perspective on day one. And I would come back and say again, if you have educated yourself well at the early stage, you will be able to avoid a debt burden. But maybe there can be circumstances in life where you have end up into that. The first and foremost things which I understand out there is you need to understand the economics of debt. And the moment you start understanding the economics of debt, then you will start doing what kind of a cash flow planning that I need. Once you put both these things into order, you will decide what is the kind of an investments I need to make. So over a period of a time, I'm able to reduce this debt burden consciously. And the moment you do that, please be rest assured you will be back into track. Your balance sheet will become healthy. You'll see the liability side coming down and the asset sides going up. And then you'll start seeing your investments start giving you a return and helping you bringing the debt burden down. Uh, First of all, the best thing is to avoid being into a debt trap. And unfortunately, because of any kind of a circumstances, you are into that, then please understand what is it that's causing that particular debt, understand the economics of that particular debt, and try and manage the cash flows to bring that down debt efficiently lower. It may be a smaller additional savings. It can be taking up that 5 basis point or 10 basis point even to start earning more from your savings and your investments and deploying it religiously. I think not just discipline out there, the religious words become very, very important. So if you do that, I'm sure you'll be able to bring that particular thing down.
All right, but as you cross the threshold of the debt issue, how should investors gauge which investment products then are suitable for them for different stages of life?
So I have a slightly different thought out here, and I keep saying is it's not just the life stage which should determine what product you are supposed to make. There are various other components that you need to understand before you decide what kind of a thing. It may happen that you are a senior citizen or you are at 60 or 70s or 80, but financially you have been into such a healthy state that you still have the ability to multiply rather than just think of that incremental. So my suggestion has always been that along with your life stage, there are few things which you need to understand. The first and foremost, which I comes up and says, please look at your balance sheet. Please look at your own financials out there. That should help you in guiding where you're supposed to make investments. The second important I keep saying is one is a quantitative and the second is the qualitative aspects. What is your psychological financial health? We keep talking about risk averse. We keep talking about various kind of, but I come up and says, what is my attitude towards managing my money? I might be a person who's comfortable taking a high risk and saying is okay. I don't need a steady cash flow. I have a relatively a healthier balance sheet out there, and I might see a kind of an upside, ups and downs out there. Probably my investment product needs to be different. The third very important aspects which probably I'm sorry most of us Indians avowed out there is what is my understanding about that financial product. That is very, very important. We always make investments saying A said this, I'm making an investment, my friend guided me, without even understanding do I know this particular product. And when we do that, we don't realize at some point of a time we have gone into some kind of a trap, and then it becomes very, very difficult for us to out. Our experiences are very bad, and then we go and blame that particular product, which is not the right kind of a scenario. So I says if you have these four understandings, your financial health, your psychological attitude towards that financial health and financial expectations from your life, the third is your own ability to understand the financial products and your investment into that, and then you map it with your life stage. Now one
Mm.
another aspects that I have adding it up, and after this is I think all of us have been impacted by corona. I look at it, we have made all those investments with various kind of an hard work in our life. We also needs to understand and start doing a kind of a consolidations or rationalization if that who are the people who are going to get this particular wealth after me. I think we
Mm.
have never ever thought about it, and especially in this kind of a scenario when we interact with so many people and the kind of an experience, we realize that people have built good amount of wealth after great difficulties. I know they today the next generations who's getting that, they are practically not aware and they really do not know how to manage. So at
Mm.
some point of a time you should also start looking at this, who are the people who are going to get this particular wealth, what is their attitude towards this particular wealth, and what kind of a plans we need to manage so that they are able to enjoy the money which you are trying to create for themselves or leave for themselves. I think this is a very important aspect which we never thought of, but at
Mm.
least post Corona, I have started thinking about it. There's no
Absolutely, it's
point
very
in,
important.
yeah. So that's the another element which I'm adding, and based on that life stage, I'm saying is probably if I'm young and I have a very healthy balance sheet, I would definitely try and get product which just not compound but also multiply. So
Mm.
I started moving towards not just talking about the compounding effect, but if I have the ability to add that multiplier effect out there, I want to use that multiplier effect. But very important, I need to know at what stage when I'm comfortable with what kind of a multiplier. Am I comfortable with n raised to power 3 or I want n raised to power 30?
Hmm.
Both has its own risk, both has its own challenges, and both requires the various kind of an inputs. Please make that discipline, please understand that profile of yours and start working on that.